everybody, my name is Mars. You can call me May or MG if you would like, and today I am starting my Spookopoly vlog. So it is September 30th for me. I was debating on whether or not I wanted to do like one long vlog or like weekly vlogs or maybe 2-week vlogs for this. And then I decided I wanted to take the first couple of weeks of October off from video stuff, and so I'm doing one big vlog, which I realize I will still be filming during that time, but I won't have to edit and upload videos, and that's break enough for me. So you will be seeing this, I guess, the first Friday in November? That's crazy to think that this is going to be going out so long from now. But we're here. We're going to do our first roll tonight so that I'm not doing it tomorrow morning. Gonna pick out the book that I'm going to start reading. I've got my Spookopoly board in my reading journal. I'm just now realizing I haven't set up my overhead camera thing, so I'm gonna have to do that. But we are going to do our first roll and figure out what we're reading, and I hope it's a good one. So I'm gonna set up my overhead camera and show you the board. Okay, this is a bit of a weird angle, but this is the best I could figure out for now. You can see a bit of my Stine-O-Ween bingo board, and I got community chest and chance prompts here. For the chance cards, I just have a list of 10 series that I'm in the middle of, and so I will read the next book in the series. And then for community chest, or I guess community shelf in this case, I asked my Ko-fi members to each pick out 3 prompts for me, and then the 10th prompt is read an R.L. Stine book for Stine-O-Ween. So I've got these dice. This lighter orange sparkly one is from a set my older sister just bought me for my birthday a few weeks ago. And this is from the Wild Beyond the Witchlight set. I figured they look like they kind of go together. I could have had matching dice because the Wild Beyond the Witchlight set came with 4 d6s, but I also wanted to use these, so this is what we're going with. Then my little piece is this mushroom that my friend got me. So we're gonna put that on go and hope it doesn't fall over. It probably will. I'm gonna roll and see what we get. Well, that fell off the edge, but it's a 1 and a 2. So 1, 2, 3. The prompt is a short book, or a book under 300 pages. I think that is a fantastic book to start out with. Fantastic prompt to start out with. Okay, we've got a bit of an angle change from my first clip because my laptop was propped up over here and I put my phone on my laptop to film. But the first book I will be reading is The Book of Three by Lloyd Alexander. This is the first book in the Chronicles of Prydain series, which you might have heard of because book 2 is The Black Cauldron. It was made into a Disney film in the olden days. I don't actually know what it's from, like the 60s maybe. But I thrifted this recently and the cover is gorgeous. It's got that like old art on it and the shiny copper color. I think it's beautiful. And this is the book that my members picked out for their exclusive vlog for the month, so I won't be telling you my thoughts on this like in detail. Once I finish it, I will be telling you like whether or not I liked it, but I won't be giving you like a lot of updates, which I probably wouldn't anyway because it's so short. And it is definitely less than 300 pages. It's 100, and if we go not to where the pronunciation guide is, 186 pages, so definitely fits the short book prompt, and I'm excited. I'm glad I'm getting an obligation read out of the way, and I might try and read this whole thing in one day. That seems doable and not crazy, so yeah, I think this is a perfect first book for Spookopoly. Hello friends, it is October 1st, happy month of Halloween, happy month of Spookopoly, and I'm here to let you know that I have finished reading my first read of the month, so The Book of Three. I started reading this morning. I was doing sprints for my members, and I got a little bit more than halfway in, and then I finished it up after running some errands in the early afternoon. And this is such a cute book. I really enjoyed it. If you want to know my like detailed thoughts about it, then check out my Ko-fi memberships to see if maybe that's something you want to sign up for. But yeah, I had a lovely time reading this. Now it's time to pick our second book, so I have to set the board up again and do another roll. Okay, so here we are with the board. You can see my little marker is on the spot we landed on. got my dice, and we're gonna roll them again. That was kind of a lame roll, they kind of just fell, but I'm gonna go with it. We have a 6 and a 3, which totals 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I don't know if you saw that. That's a mood read, which means I can pick literally any book I want. That's a lot of responsibility for me, so I'm gonna give that a think and come back. Alright, I'm here. I've made my decision, and I'm gonna be smart and use my mood read for an R.L. Stine book so that I can make progress on my Stine-O-Ween bingo board. And the book that I'm picking is The Werewolf of Fever Swamp. It's part of the original Goosebumps lineup, and it's gonna check off a bunch of prompts for me, but mostly I'm picking it because this is like the quintessential Goosebumps book in my mind. It's one that absolutely terrified my older sister. She hated the book, she hated the like movie, or maybe it was like a TV episode. I don't remember. I probably wasn't even born when it originally came out, now that I'm thinking about it, because this is like early to mid 90s. But when I think of Goosebumps, this is the first one that comes to mind, so I definitely had to read it, and that's gonna be my pick. I don't have it physically, or else I would hold it up, but if I'm not feeling too lazy when editing, I'll put up the cover here. But yes, this is my next pick, and I'm so excited to get into it. Hello, friends. It is just past 7 p.m. on October 2nd, and I finished my second book of the month. I just finished reading The Werewolf of Fever Swamp by R.L. Stine, and I had a great time. It's such a fun read. It's like the Goosebumps book in my head, and I'm very glad it was something I could fit in this readathon. I think that's the word I was going for. Yes, so I will film my next roll. I just wanted to warn you that the lighting will be terrible because it is 7 p.m. and the way my office is set up, like the light is there and it goes down this way towards my desk, but I'll be there, so I'll be blocking it, but I'll try my best not to block it too bad. Yeah, let's just get on to that next roll. Okay, here we are. I kind of have to hold my phone steady with one hand because my little like arm thing that I use to do overhead shots is not staying stable for some reason. So I'm gonna try to roll with one hand. Our little pieces on mood read there. Shuffle the dice, I guess. That was not on purpose. And I'm gonna take that as a 1 and a 6. Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I am dropping everything everywhere, and you can't even see the board when my hand is there. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. So I've landed on Daphne du Maurier. I'm gonna undo this whole setup and come talk to you face to camera. Okay, that shot was a big mess, but we're just gonna roll with it. Pun unintended, actually. The space that I landed on was Daphne du Maurier, and I would love to read a Daphne du Maurier, but the only one I own physically is Rebecca, and I've read it before, and there aren't really any others on Scribd, unfortunately. But when I went on Scribd, I typed in Daphne du Maurier, and it came up with a couple of different editions of Rebecca, and then it put other people's stories that I guess it thinks are similar to Daphne du Maurier. And of course the prompt also means I could just read a gothic novel, because I think that's what the like alternative prompt to not reading what the author is for this spot. Anyway, I'm reading a book that came up when I searched for Daphne du Maurier on Scribd, and that is The Sea of Lost Girls by Carol Goodman. It's about this woman who's a professor at a boarding school. She's married to another professor, and then I think her son is like under suspicion for potentially murdering his girlfriend or something like that. I don't know, it feels gothic, it feels a little bit dark academia. I think it sounds really good, and that's what I'm gonna go with. It is like 300 pages, so not very long, and yeah, I'm just gonna hope that I enjoy it, and I will update you when I have an update. Hello friends, I have an update for you about The Sea of Lost Girls, and I should tell you what day it is. It's October 4th, like 4:35ish, and I'm about a third of the way through, and I'm very much enjoying it. It's so good. It's keeping me on the edge of my seat. It is a thriller though, so you would want it to do that. But basically, I don't know how much I've explained it to you. The main character, Tess, has the son, Rudy, who's 17, and she's married to this guy, Harmon. The two of them are professors at this like boarding school, and their son goes there. And the book opens up with her son calling her, being like, hey, can you pick me up? And it's like at the edge of this cliff. It's like their safe place, this whole thing. And she picks him up, and then the next morning they find out that his girlfriend has been killed, died, something like that. At first I think she like fell off the side of the cliff while jogging or something, and then rumors start spreading that she was murdered. This whole stuff, all these things are going on. Lots of like interwoven backstories, and I'm having a great time reading this. It feels like one of those things where you know from the beginning who did what, but then as more gets revealed, you're like, oh no, the obvious one isn't so obvious after all, and you don't know whether to think it's a red herring or like maybe they did do it in the end. And I cannot wait to keep reading this and see how it goes. Hello friends, it is 7:30 p.m. on the 5th, and I've just finished reading The Sea of Lost Girls, and it was good. I had a good time reading it. The ending was a little bit much, and then it all wrapped up way too neatly, so like, that wasn't great. It was just kind of like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing now. But up until that last maybe like 3-4 chapters, I was really enjoying it. So I think I'd give it like an 8 out of 10, 7.5, 8-ish. Definitely not the perfect thriller that I'm still on the search for, but definitely one that I really enjoyed. So now that that's done, I get to pick another book, and I'm nervous for this next stretch of the Spookopoly board because it's got some tougher prompts and some prompts that I'm not super excited for, but let's just cut to me rolling and we will see what I get. Okay, this is quite the interesting angle that I've got going on, but we're gonna roll with it. Pun unintended. Here are the dice. We are going to... Oh, my little piece fell off. And the die fell off, but it's a 2. And this one is a 5. So we're gonna move 7 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is a caramel apple. So I'm going to remind myself what that prompt is and pick a book and come back. Okay, so the caramel apple prompt, or on the sheet it says toffee apple. I've never heard that called that. Maybe it's a UK, US thing. Caramel apple, toffee apple, whatever. And the prompt for that space is a sticky book, or a book that you won't be able to put down. And so for this, I'm going with Escape from Horrorland by R.L. Stine. This is one of the books in his Horrorland spin-off of the Goosebumps series, so we will cross off many more prompts on the Stine-O-Ween bingo board. See, I've already gotten a bingo because I read The Werewolf of Fever Swamp, but I can always get more. So I will be picking that because I truly don't think I'll be able to put it down. It's short, it's probably going to be super fast-paced the way R.L. Stine books are. I'm just super duper excited to read this book. So that is my next pick. I will talk about it when I have an update. Hello friends, it is about 6:45 on October 6th, and I've just finished reading Escape from Horrorland. I gotta say, it wasn't good. It was like one of those books where you have to read a bunch of the other ones to really understand what was going on. I thought that the Horrorland spin-off would be like the original Goosebumps series, where you could read them in any order because they don't really like connect very much, except for the ones that are clearly connected, like Night of the Living Dummy and Night of the Living Dummy 2. This wasn't the case with Horrorland, I think. This was book 11 in the series, and it really kind of just jumped in, and it didn't feel like it had a beginning. It was literally like the first paragraph was like, my name is Lizzie, and me and my brother Luke were doing research on these kids that got invited to Horrorland, and we know that they are stuck there and they think they can escape to Panic Park and it will save them, but we know something about Panic Park that they don't know, so we're going to rescue them. And I'm like, okay, sure, that sounds fine, I guess. And then the ending wasn't really an ending. It genuinely, this whole book just felt like an act two of a story. There wasn't any build up or setup, and there was no conclusion. And apparently, the story continues into book 12 of the Horrorland series. I don't think I'll be reading it. I didn't really like the writing style in this one. It felt very juvenile, and like I know R.L. Stine writes for like 8 to 12-year-olds. This one just felt so young. There was like every single page using all caps locks for emphasis on a word, which is one of my biggest pet peeves in writing. I hate that. Just use italics. And it was just not a good time to read. But I've got that finished, which means I get to pick another book. I get to do another Spookopoly roll, and hopefully it'll lead me to something I enjoy a little bit more. Okay, so here we are. We've got my little piece on the caramel apple where it last landed. I'm gonna try and roll the dice into this coaster that I have so that hopefully things don't get scattered, but we'll see. I've got my dice here, and I have rolled a 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oop, the little mushroom's not gonna fall because it is gonna fall because the page is bent towards the middle. We've landed on Jigsaw, which is probably the only spot on this board that I did not want to land on, but we'll figure it out. Okay, I'm back because I could not find a book for this prompt. The prompt for Jigsaw is a book with some sort of like game or trial in like the plot, and I genuinely couldn't find anything that I had access to, so we are going to re-roll. And the rule for re-rolling, because you have a prompt you don't like or don't want to fulfill or can't fulfill, is that you have to pick 2 books for the next prompt you land on. So we're gonna roll again and hope it works out better. So I've got my dice again, and this time we have a 7, right? 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did I count correctly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. So our new prompt is most recent purchase, which actually, give me a second if I clear these out of the way. I keep track of all the books I buy in my reading journal. So the most recent books that I bought are these ones over here. So I will choose 2 of these books to read. I got all 4 of these at the same time, and I'll come back to tell you about them. Okay, so as you saw, I couldn't fulfill the one prompt, so I rolled again and picked 2 books for the next prompt, the prompt being most recent purchase. And the 2 books that I'm choosing for that, because there are 4 books that I got all at the same time, the 2 that I'm picking are Falling Up by Shel Silverstein. I forgot that there's always a creepy picture of him on the back of this. That scared me. This is a poetry collection. I really love Shel Silverstein's poetry. I have ever since I was a kid, and I own his 3 other like major poetry collections. It's Light in the Attic, Everything on It, and Where the Sidewalk Ends. And I was at a thrift store and I saw this one and I'm like, I gotta complete the collection. So this will be the first one. I actually don't know. Actually, as I say, I don't know which order I'm going to read these 2 books, but I think I'll read Falling Up first. And then, for my second pick, I'll be reading Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. You probably already understand what this is. If you know anything about movies, Jurassic Park is a fantastic movie, and I've heard great things about the book. Again, I was at a thrift store, and I saw it. And they actually had both books, because this is a duology. It's Jurassic Park and then The Lost World. But the edition of The Lost World that they had was slightly shorter, and I didn't like how they looked next to each other, so I only got the first one, and if I like it and I want to buy the sequel, I can find it in this edition. So it's got real tiny font, but I'm extremely excited to be reading this. So these are my next 2 reads, and I will keep you updated as I read them. Hello, friends. It is just past 4 p.m. on the 8th. It's Sunday, and I've had a lovely day. I slept until like 10 p.m. and then I ran out to run a couple errands, came back, did some writing, did some reading, and I finished Falling Up by Shel Silverstein. I'm not gonna jump scare myself and put the book in front of me and see Shel Silverstein's face on the back. Learned my lesson. But yeah, I finished reading this. It's so cute. I love Shel Silverstein's poetry. I think it's just a really fun time. One of my favorite ones is actually very early on. I should have bookmarked it, but I didn't. There it is. It's called Snowball, and it says, I made myself a snowball as perfect as could be. I thought I'd keep it as a pet and let it sleep with me. I made it some pajamas and a pillow for its head, and then last night it ran away, but first it wet the bed. And that's just so adorable. It's just really cute. But yeah, I have finished reading this, but I don't get to pull another book. I don't get to roll to get another prompt. That's what I was trying to say, because I had to do 2 books for the last prompt. So I will be now picking up Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I'm so excited, but also very intimidated. It is, let's see. Oh, it is 448 pages, which isn't a lot, but look at how small this font is. And also, like, the chapters kind of just start in the middle of the page, doesn't like go to the next one, which is fine. But I'm really excited to get this. I love Jurassic Park. It's one of my favorite movies, and so reading this is just going to be, I hope, a really good time. So I'm probably gonna pick this up tonight. So I will update you in the coming days as I read it. Hello, friends. It is about 7:45 p.m. on Tuesday the 10th. Ignore any sounds you might hear. For some reason, there's like a lot of traffic and like planes going by and everything. But I'm here to update you on Jurassic Park. I know I haven't done many like in the middle of reading updates. I just really read the books and then tell you what happens afterwards and how I feel about it. That's because I've been doing a lot of short books. This one's considerably thicker, and I'm 150 pages in now, so I've got about 300 pages left, and I'm having a good time. I did have a rough start with it. I was like 30 or 40 pages in, and it was just so slow, but I found the audiobook on Scribd, and so I've been listening to it as I read physically, and that has helped a lot, and I'm really enjoying it, but it's just, like I said, very slow. Like, I'm 150 pages in, I'm like a third of the way through the book, and they are just now starting the tour of the park. Like, none of the people had even arrived on the island until page like 100. Like, the beginning is a lot of setup, especially compared to the movie, but we are getting right into the thick of things now. They're going to take the tour of the park and everything's going to go wrong, just like it does in the movie. And I cannot wait. I am just very excited to continue on with this, and I'm probably even more excited to watch the movie after I finish this, which I think I'm going to do, just because it's a really good movie. I like it a lot, and I really like watching movies after I read the books that they're based on. It's just something really fun. But that is my 1/3 of the way through update, and I will update you again at some point when I feel like I have something worthwhile to say about this. Hello, friends. It is just past 10 a.m. on the 13th. Happy Friday the 13th. And I have finished reading Jurassic Park. I actually finished it last night at like 11:30 and then went right to bed. I did not have nightmares about dinosaurs, thankfully, but I did a lot of reading yesterday and finished this out, but I waited until this morning to update you because I wanted my thoughts to be as coherent as possible. No promises they will be coherent, but more coherent than they would have been had I updated you before I slept. But yeah, I finished this. It was good. I think I was going to give it a 9 out of 10, but then I didn't really like the ending. So I think it's an 8 out of 10. So, like, still really enjoyable, but the ending was very different from the movie, and I just wasn't a fan of it. It kind of felt like a letdown, and some characters died that didn't die in the movie, and just little details that had been changed that I wasn't expecting, but Overall, I enjoyed this book. The first like 100 pages are pretty slow, but then we really get into the action once we get to the park. Oh, excuse me. Once we get to the park and things start happening. Um, yeah, I really liked the what's it called? Velociraptors, like the descriptions and stuff used whenever they're like moving around and like attacking and stuff. I just really liked the visual images that I got. I thought it was very well done. And the T Rex was a little much. There are many scenes with the T Rex in the book that were cut for the movie, and some of them were quite silly. Like the T Rex, so the kids are like hiding behind this waterfall in this like mechanical room that's like used for maintenance or whatever, and the T Rex shoves its face in, but its face is too big to get to them, so it sticks its tongue out and like slithers it around like a worm and then wraps it around one of the kids and starts like pulling it with like forward. That was very funny to me. It was probably supposed to be terrifying, but I just thought it was a hilarious mental image. Um, yes, I would be interested in reading the sequel. Apparently, it wasn't supposed to have a sequel, but once the movie came out and it was this huge success, uh, Michael Crichton's agent or publisher or whoever was like, hey, you want to write a book too? And he's like, yeah, I guess. And I have no idea if it's as good as this one. I'm assuming it is. And I would read other things by him because Michael Crichton wrote, I think, like maybe 15 or so books from what I've seen. And I liked this one enough that I would check out his other books. So that's my thoughts on Jurassic Park. Now I get to finally roll and pick more books to read. Alrighty, friends, here we are. As you can see, my piece is on most recent purchase, which is the last space that I landed on. Got my dice, so we're gonna give them a roll. And that's a double, which means I have to pick 2 books for the next prompt. Let's see what we land on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have to pick 2 orange books. Okay, that's gonna be a little tricky, I think, but we will make do. I will go pick those books and be right back. Okay, I am back with my 2 books, and the first one is fudging it a little bit, so we're gonna fudge it for this first book and then do something else for the second book to like make up for that. Of course, as soon as I start recording, a car goes by very loudly. I don't know if it picked up, but that was so loud. The first book I'm picking is The Emperor of Nihanja by John Flanagan. This is the 10th and final book in the Ranger's Apprentice series, and I have been trying to do my Ranger's Apprentice read at the beginning of every month, but it didn't work out this way, and now we're halfway through the month, and I'm scared I'm not going to be able to fit this in for any other prompts. It is one of the chance cards, but I don't want to risk not landing on a chance prompt, or chance square, and then like not being able to do it, or landing on chance square and getting one of the 9 other prompts, or books that I put on the cards. So I'm just going to go with this. It's like kind of orange. It's more red, but it's definitely like a red orange, and like his armor is like a golden orange. So like, is it orange? No. Am I gonna count it for this anyway? Yes, because I really want to read this, and she's chunky. She's 435 pages, which is like twice as long as most of the other Ranger's Apprentice books, but I will be reading this, and I will probably be crying, but I'm very excited for this reread. As for the second book, because I rolled doubles, so if you roll doubles as you are, like if you're rolling as you go and you roll doubles, it means you have to pick 2 books for the prompt you land on, because it's not like you can add something to the end if you're rolling as you go. Anyway, I decided that to make up for this book not being very orange, I have scoured my shelves, didn't find anything, so I scoured Scribd and found 3 books that I'm interested in reading that are very orange, and I'm going to put them on a poll on Instagram and let other people decide what they are. I'm not going to put the names on Instagram, I'm just going to do emojis, which I could just do orange hearts and make people blind pick, but I might be a little nicer than that and give them something to go off of. But the 3 books are all kind of intimidating. The first is The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, the second is City of Brass by S.A. Chakravorty, and the third book is They Never Learn by Lane Fargo. If we are going to be honest with ourselves here, I'm hoping that They Never Learn wins because it is quite a bit shorter. I believe it's only in like the 300-page range, whereas Poppy War and City of Brass are both 600 something pages. They're both books that I really want to read. Pretty intimidating though. So I'm going to put that poll up, and it'll decide what I read after I read The Emperor of Nihanja. So I will be back to update you at some point in the future. Hello, friends. It is the day after I last updated you, and I'm just here for a moment to tell you how the poll went. And it ended up in a tie. It was almost a three-way tie. I think it was like 1 or 2 votes shy of being completely tied up, but it was a tie between City of Brass and They Never Learn, and because of the tie, I am breaking that because why not? And so I'm gonna go with They Never Learn, both because it is the shortest option and because it is dark academia, and I'm just in the mood for that. I mean, I'm always in the mood for that, but I'm also always in the mood for fantasy. But like at the moment, I'm in the mood for dark academia just a little bit more. So after I finish reading my Ranger's Apprentice book, I will pick up They Never Learn by Lane Fargo, and I'm very intrigued. I can't wait. Hello, friends. I apologize for the atrocious lighting, but it's 9 p.m. on the 15th. I think I updated you yesterday. I'm here to update you again. So I am quite far into this. I am 240 pages into The Emperor of Nihanja, the 10th book in the Ranger's Apprentice series. 10th and final, technically, sort of. Not gonna get into it. But I'm loving it. It's like kind of a greatest hits kind of vibe because we've got all these characters coming in from like different books, like just side characters that were there are kind of all coming together, and they like reference a bunch of stuff that's happened in past books. They reference the spin-off series, Brother Band Chronicles, which I plan on reading next year, and it's just a lot of fun. It's not my favorite of the series because it does just kind of like, the story doesn't repeat a lot of stuff that had happened, but it does like reference a lot of stuff, and it's like, okay, yeah. But yeah, it's very fun, and I'm hoping to finish tomorrow. Let's see, if I'm 240 pages in, there is 435, so 200 pages. I think I can do that tomorrow. And then after that, I will pick up my other orange book, which I believe I told you I was going to read They Never Learn by Lane Fargo, and I've changed my mind, which I'm allowed to do. I'm going to instead be reading City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I don't know why. I think it's because of this book. It's just putting me more in the mood for fantasy and just like magic and stuff. Not that there's like really magic in this. This series is kind of weird because in the first book you get like non real creatures, like fantasy magical creatures with the Kalkara and some other stuff, and then it just never happens again. It's so weird, but yeah, it's interesting, but it's like put me in the mood for like fantasy more. So I'm going to instead be reading City of Brass, even though it's very long. It's like 680 pages, I think. That's a chunky boy, but I'm also very excited. This is a series that I've wanted to start for quite a while now. I know several friends who really, really love it, and I trust their opinions on books, so I think I'm going to have a good time. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I will see you again when I finish this bad boy. Hello, friends. We are here in the bedroom for today's update. It is like 8:30 on the 16th, maybe? It's Monday. I think it's the 16th. Regardless, I have finished reading The Emperor of Nihanja, and I don't have the dust jacket on it because that's back in my office and I finished it out here, so we're updating about it here. Anyway, I liked it. It was fine. I would give it probably like a 7 out of 10. It really does feel like a greatest hits, which I think I said in my last update, but like, I don't know, it definitely feels like a conclusion, sort of, in that it like brings up all this stuff of the past and like kind of
finalizes that those adventures are over. But like, I don't know. I'm kind of sad that this is the last one in the series, even though, so technically it wasn't. Technically there was this, and then there was a collection of short stories that's considered the 11th book, and then book 12 was called The Royal Ranger, but since that came out, it has been rebranded, and now it is book 1 in a new series, where the series is called The Royal Ranger, and the book is called A New Beginning, I believe, and it's about Will, the main character of the series, taking on an apprentice of his own, and it definitely feels more like a new series than it does a finishing of this one. So like, I wish there was another like actual novel that really wrapped everything up, because there's some stuff that we just don't get closure on, like things that happen right at the end of this and then they never go anywhere. There's some stuff that John Flanagan did in the short stories and in the future books that I don't agree with and think were terrible things to do, and I'll forever be mad at him about it, but that is not for this discussion because I don't want to spoil anything. We don't get to see Tug in this one. Tug is Will's horse. I don't know if I ever mentioned the main character's name is Will in this. I kind of just assumed that if you're watching this, you've seen my videos before, and that you've seen me talk about these books, because I talk about them a lot. But yeah, the main character is Will, and he has a horse named Tug, and we don't see him in this because it's on the complete other side of the world. And that's really sad, because I love Tug and the companionship between Will and his horse. It's just so good, and we don't get that. So, like, this book is good, it's fun, and I love it, but it just really falls flat in quite a few places. But now that I'm done with that, I will be starting City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I might try and read like just the first chapter or two tonight, but I will really break into it. I was going to say tomorrow, but I have a lot of things I have to get done tomorrow. But I will work on that throughout this week, and I'm very excited to be picking this up because it's a series I've wanted to read for a while, and I'm finally getting around to it. So I will keep you updated as I go along.
Hello. This is the angle you're getting for this update because I've been laying down in bed reading while I'm waiting for my video to export. It is 8:13 p.m. on the 18th, and I'm sorry, my window's open, so it's probably a little bit loud, but I am just over 200 pages into City of Brass. I'm having a great time. I wouldn't say I'm like loving it, like I am now, but it was a bit of a rough start. It's very much the throw everything at you at once and you'll figure it out as you go kind of book. And for fantasy, I prefer a little bit of a gentler approach, but it's still good. Now that we are further into it, I'm definitely really getting into it. But like I said, I didn't really love the beginning. So we have two POV characters. We have Nari, who is a human from Cairo, and she learns that she's actually not entirely human. She has Jinn blood in her, and not only that, but like she's the last person with blood of this specific family of Jinn, and she accidentally summons Dara, who is a Deva, which is one of the different tribes of Jinn, and they are traveling to Davabad, which is the capital city of the Jinn world. The other POV we have is Ali, who is a prince of the Jinn, and there's this whole thing going on with the different tribes and how the pureblood Jinn treat these, I forget what they're called. I genuinely don't remember, but there's like a word for the people like Nari who have human and Jinn blood. And there's all this like politics going on, and the backdrop of this war that had happened 1400 years prior, and I'm loving that aspect of it. I cannot wait to see where it goes, so I'm not quite a third of the way there. I think like one more chapter and I'll be a third of the way through this book. But yeah, I'm having a really fun time reading it. The chapters are a bit longer than I like. As we probably know by now, I'm a fan of short chapters. These chapters are kind of long, but they're not like super duper long, so like I can put up with them. But that's where I am right now. I am going to keep reading because I still have to wait. I have about 10 more minutes until this video is exported, so I'm going to get more reading done,
and see how far I can get tonight.
Hello, friends. It is 9:15 p.m. on the 19th, and I've just passed the halfway mark in City of Brass. Completely gone from my mind for a second there. I don't know what is going on. I'm 10 pages past the halfway mark, and oh my goodness, I'm like so obsessed. The romance in this, because there is a sprinkling of romance between two of the characters. It was like the setup into the romance, that little first spark of it, was a little bit underdeveloped for my tastes. But now that we're fully into the romance or past that, I'm obsessed. Screaming, crying, throwing up. Oh, literally, I'm as soon as I'm done filming this clip, I'm going to go back to reading, but I figured I should update you guys. Um, it's so good. And the political intrigue in this is also fantastic. So our one main character, Nari, and the person she's been traveling with, Dara, have finally made it to Daevabad, which is the city of brass. And so they have met Ollie, the other POV character. It's him and Nari. And so we're really getting into it, and things are happening. We've got some things that have been revealed, but that reveal also kind of took the things that we had already known and flipped it on its head. And did we really know that, or were we just wrong the whole time? Well, I mean, I guess the character's wrong the whole time, but also the reader too, because we learn things with the characters usually. Anyway, I'm having a fantastic time with this book. I'm loving it so much, and I cannot wait to continue reading it. I have a lot to get done in the next week. So many things going on, but I'm really going to try and prioritize this book over the next couple of days, just because I'm having a really good time with it, and I really want to keep reading. So I'm going to get back to that, and I will update you guys later.
Hello, friends. It is 1 in the morning on, I guess, the 21st now. I stayed up way too late, way later than I normally do, reading City of Brass, and I just finished it. It is not actually 680 pages, it is 604 in the ebook version that I have, and then the last 70 whatever pages are bonus chapters from book 2 and an interview with the author and the acknowledgments and all that jazz that ends up in the back of a book. So it was quite a bit shorter than I expected, but holy crap. I think I'm settling with an 8 out of 10 because I did really love this book, but there were some things that I did take issue with. The first thing, the passing of time is done so poorly in this book. Literally, I will start another chapter and I would just assume it was the next day or something, but it would be 4 paragraphs and be it had been 3 months since blah blah blah. Be I guess we just skipped 3 months. It was very jarring. Happened several times where I thought that it wasn't that much time that had passed, but it had been weeks or months or whatever. I don't even know how long the time frame of the book as a whole is because of how not great that aspect of the story was handled. Another thing is that Act 3 was just very sudden and didn't really have the lead into that I would have expected. It was a lot of stuff all at once. Not everything was I don't want to say hinted at, because you don't have to hint at everything, but a lot of stuff came out of nowhere and didn't seem to fit in the story very well. Act 3 was just everything all at once. My favorite character didn't die. I half expected my favorite character to die because my favorite character dies in so many things that I love, books, movies, whatever. I have a very bad knack for picking out the characters that die. But they didn't. Some stuff was revealed about them in the epilogue and about our main characters, things happening, setting up for book 2. I don't even know what could possibly happen in book 2, but I'm excited to read it eventually one day. Right now, excuse me, really need to get to bed. I will see you at some point tomorrow. I might try and give you a more coherent explanation of my thoughts on the book, because I don't know how well I'm doing right now. I'm so tired. I'm gonna have to watch this footage back and see if I'm making any sense whatsoever, and if I'm not, then I will do my best to re-explain my thoughts on this book. And if I think this one's fine, we're just gonna cut to me rolling the dice again, I guess, because there's always more books to read. Jeez. Oh, I'm so tired. Um, yeah, that was City of Brass. Good book. Good night, everyone.
Okay, I have reviewed the footage of me talking about City of Brass, and it looks fine. So, we are here. It's about 10 a.m. on the 21st, and we're gonna do our next roll. This is our seventh? Yeah, seventh roll for our ninth book. So, do that. And of course, we get doubles. Oh, how wonderful. Cool. So let's move 10 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we've landed on Stephen King, the prompt of which is to read a Stephen King or a book with some sort of royalty word in the cover. In the title. And I have to pick two of them. Great. I have absolutely no idea what I'll be reading for this, so give me a minute and I'll come back. Okay, I am back and I have one book to talk about. I'm going to put off choosing a second book for this prompt because my script is nearing its like if you read too many like big name titles on script, it sometimes cuts you off and makes you wait until your subscription renews before you can read more like popular things. And it started to cut me off, so I'm not gonna pick any second book right now because I don't know what it will cut next, and I don't physically own any books that fit this. Well, I do. Let me start from the top. So I looked at the prompts list, and for Stephen King, it also works if you pick a book that has a court setting or themes of royalty, and so that's what I'm going off of because it's pretty much all I could find. So there are a couple of books that I own that I could read, but they would all be rereads, and I want to read new books, so like new to me books for now. And so I picked one, and that is Deadly Dreams by KJ Sutton. This is the third book in the Fortuna Sworn series. I believe the fifth one recently came out or is coming out soon, and there will be 6 total. So I am making my way through this series, and it follows Fortuna, who is a nightmare, which basically means she has fear-based magic, and she in the first book is looking for her brother, and she makes a deal with this this fae man to try and get him back. And part of that deal is that she marries him, and surprise, he's actually a fae king. And so there's definitely royalty and a court setting. And so, yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen in this book. I don't remember a ton of what happened in book 2. The series is like not one that I'm super duper invested in. It's more like it's a fun time kind of series. So it is like 500 something pages, so a little bit thick. But it is only the 21st today, so 10 days in this month. So I have plenty of time to read this book and the second book for this prompt, whatever that may be. Um, yeah, I guess that's it for now. I'm going to get reading. Hello. It is 11:30 at night, and I've just started reading Fortuna Sworn, and um
Yeah, I kind of forgot where book 2 left off, and it was like a wild what the fuck kind of moment, and I've just been reminded of it, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, okay, I forgot that was a thing that we had to take care of, and we are jumping right into it, and I am so, I don't know if excited is the word, because I'm not, like, invested in this story. It's just like my don't take it seriously, just have fun with it series. But like, I want to see what comes of the stuff that happened at the end of book 2 because oh boy, was it a lot.
Hello, friends. It is almost 10 p.m. on the 22nd, and I have an update. I am just past the 100-page mark in Deadly Dreams? Is that what it's called? Fortuna Sworn Book 3. I think it's called Deadly Dreams, but now I'm not entirely sure. I want so badly to, like, spoil everything about this book. So I read the first one in the series back in, I want to say, August. And it was a buddy read with my friend Emily, and we had a great time, like, just gushing about it the entire time while we were reading it. And then we started the second book together, and I don't want to say she DNF'd it because I think she does want to pick it back up, but it just wasn't the right time. She's got so much going on, and I don't blame her for not reading it, but like I continued on and finished it, and now I'm on the third one. And like I miss when we were reading the first one together. It was so fun, and like there's so much going on in this one that I just want to be like, girl, what is going on? Like, it's crazy. But I am having, it feels weird saying I'm having a good time reading this because I am, but also at the same time the characters are going through a lot of shit. So like I feel a little bit bad that I'm enjoying it so much, but I am enjoying it, and I can't wait to keep going and see where it goes because I truly have no idea where the author is going to take this story. So I just wanted to give you this little bit of an update, and I will see you at some point in the future. Hello, friends. I have got another update from bed for you. It is 9:36 according to my little clock that I have. Don't know the date. 23rd, I think. Monday? Sure. I've just finished chapter 8 or 9 of Deadly Dreams. I don't know. I like went to the next page in the ebook and I read the chapter title. I don't remember if it said chapter 9 or if chapter 9 was the one I just finished. Regardless, I'm just under 200 pages in. And oh boy, was this chapter something. We've introduced the Wild Hunt, which is one of my favorite things from like fairy lore. And so we've met the leader of the Wild Hunt. Her name is Gwyn, which is my middle name if you didn't know. And she's interesting. We then we met someone else that I was not expecting. So Fortuna, the main character, takes self-defense lessons from Adam, who is this vampire mechanic guy that she knows, and she goes to have her lesson, and this guy is there, and the way he's introduced is, so the book's in first person, so in Fortuna's like thoughts, she like calls him the most beautiful black man I've ever seen, which is like a little bit weird to phrase it that way, but okay. And then I thought that was weird, but then like 3 paragraphs later, he introduces himself as Dracula. Why is Dracula a character in this book? So weird, so bizarre, but okay. So he's just there. He didn't really do much. But then it's actually Fortuna's birthday in this chapter, and she so she's staying with a bunch of people. It's her, her brother, her nephew, her old neighbor from when she was a child that's like kind of a mother figure to her, her husband Colith, who's the Unseelie Court fairy king, and they are all staying at the house of Cyrus, who is Fortuna's co-worker. He's the cook at the bar that Fortuna works at, and he's autistic, and I love him. He's perfect and amazing. That's besides the point. Also, Finn, who is a werewolf, lives with them, and So lots of people. They're having this family dinner. They also invite a bunch of other people, like the owners of the bar and Fortuna and her brother's adoptive parents, and so many people show up. And Lori, who is one of my favorite characters, he's like, I like him, but he's done some stuff that I'm like, ugh, no. He is the Sealy Court King, and him and Colith have this history. He shows up and starts shit. Liari, who is my definite favorite character, she is Fortuna's like bodyguard. Um, she also shows up, and like it's just this whole wild thing going on. Like it's crazy. Every time someone said something, I was just like, oh my god. Like, this book is just really getting to me. Like, I don't know what it is, but I just care about these characters so much. And anytime any of them are like uncomfortable, I get uncomfortable. I'm sorry if my camera's doing weird things. To me, it looks like it keeps going like slightly in and out of focus, and I don't know why. I hope that's not bothering people, but it's fine. But yeah, it's just been a wild, wild chapter. Uh, Emma, who is the old neighbor who's like a mother figure to Fortuna, her birthday gift to Fortuna was therapy. Like she literally gave her a card that said like, "Hope this isn't too forward, but you could use some help." And it's a business card for a therapist, and that's just so funny. I'm having a great time with this book, and I have at least an hour before I go to bed that I will continue reading. So I'm just gonna keep going on this. Hello, friends. It is just before 1 p.m. on the 26th, and I have finished reading Deadly Dreams. What even was this book? Like, it. I don't even know how to talk about this without spoiling it. You know, ever see in Lord of the Rings, especially the first movie, where it gets to a point and you're like, oh, this would be a good ending point for the movie. And then another thing happens and you're like, this would be a good ending point for the movie. And then another thing happens. Things just kept happening in this book. I'm like, what else could be going on? And it's like, I'm just flabbergasted. I'm gonna keep reading. I need to know what's gonna happen. But it's like, these things just kind of come out of nowhere, and like I can see where there was like a little bit of foreshadowing, but I feel like it wasn't done great, and then like new things keep getting added on top of that, and like I mentioned Dracula as a character. He literally shows up and he's like, "Hey, do you want to be a vampire?" And Fortuna Sworn is like, not really." And he's like, "Cool. Did you know that this person that you've known for years and years and you thought was a regular person is actually a dragon?" And she's like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "Yeah, and like dragon flame can make the fallen, which are like the supernatural creatures, make them mortal." And then he just fucks off. And I'm like, "Cool. Thanks for showing up, Dracula." And like with Gwyn, um the leader of the Wild Hunt, she shows up and she's like, "Someone's hired me to hunt you, but I kind of like you, so I'm gonna give you this ultimatum where like you help me find this person that has been kept from me for uh like centuries, and I'll just kill you later on when you've lived a full life instead of killing you now." And then a whole bunch of stuff happens, and then she's just like, "Cool, bye." And I'm like, why? I just, it's so frustrating reading this because I want it to be more than it is. And like, it is just, like, it's not just a silly little series. Like, there is like heavy topics, especially this book, a lot of heavy topics. And like, I really like the portrayals of that, portrayals of like grief and recovery and the characters dealing with their fears and stuff, which the main character is a nightmare, which is a creature that like their magic involves fears and stuff. So I went into this being like, oh, this is probably going to be a series where the characters deal with their fears. Like that feels very thematic, and it does happen. But like all of the like really great things that I love about this series is kind of just like drowned out by the drama of it all, and like all these things showing up out of nowhere and happening, and like it's a little bit frustrating. But I finished book 3. I'm now halfway through the series. Book 4 is already out. Book 5 comes out next month. I'm not reading these anytime soon, but book 5 comes out next month. Then book 6 doesn't have a date yet, but like that'll be the last book in the series. So I'll finish it eventually. Oh man, I would definitely read from this author again. Like that, something about this writing has me really hooked. But like the story itself is just so frustrating at times. But now that that's done, I have to read my second book for the Stephen King prompt, which I have picked out. I've decided I want to read another R.L. Stine Goosebumps book, so I asked Violet, my friend who is running the Stine-O-Ween event, like, hey, what is an R.L. Stine book with royalty themes in it? And her first suggestion was, I believe it's called A Night at Terror Tower or something like that, but I couldn't find that online anywhere. So then her second recommendation was The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, and she's like, well, there's like a pharaoh, and that's Egyptian royalty, and I'm like, bet, I'm reading that. So I will be reading The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. I might be able to read it all today. Oh, excuse me, I have a hiccup. Because it's a Goosebumps book, it's pretty dang short, and I just don't see myself having a problem flying through it. I am probably not going to update you guys over this weekend because it is the Storyteller's Hearth weekend relay, so I'll be focusing on writing, and also I will be filming a separate vlog for that focused on the writing, so I don't know if I'll talk about reading, but I will definitely update you again before the end of the month. I mean, it's only the 26th, and even if I don't do a ton of reading over the weekend, I will do some reading in the last couple days of the month. There's some beeping outside. I'm going to end this clip here. Thanks for staying this long. I feel like this vlog has been so long and it's just gonna keep going. Hello friends, you get bad late night lighting because it's almost 8 p.m., still the 26th, and I've finished reading The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. I told you it was gonna be a very quick read. It was okay. It was genuinely creepy at times, but then the ending was just not at all. It was kind of lame. And there was foreshadowing about the main character's shoe always coming untied, and then it didn't really do anything in the end. I mean, like, it did. It's what caused them to be separated, and the main character, like, get caught in the mummy's tomb. But, like, I don't know. I thought that it was gonna be the reason that he, like, tripped and ended up getting caught by the mummies or something, but they all make it out okay. I'm like, that's lame. Anyway, yeah, let's get going on our next roll. This might be my last one of the month because I don't know how much reading I'm gonna get done this weekend when I'm trying to write, and then there's only a couple of days left in the month. So let's go over to the Spookopoly board. Okay, here we are with the board. My little mushroom is on the Stephen King spot where we last landed. I've got my dice. We're gonna give it a little bit of a roll, and we got 5 plus 4 is 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ghostly. I believe the full like Taylor Swift lyric that was used on this is "What a ghostly scene" from My Tears Ricochet. That's actually a Taylor Swift song that I really like, but I could be wrong on which song it's from, but I think it's that. But yeah, this I'm pretty sure is just a book with ghosts. I'm gonna double check the prompt list and then pick my book and come back. Okay, so that was actually very easy for me to find a book. I'm gonna go with another R.L. Stine because why not? I'm gonna go with The Curse of Camp Cold Lake, which I'm assuming has ghosts in it because the cover looks like a ghost skeleton thing rising out of a lake. I'm assuming that's why it's called Camp Cold Lake. It'll cover a couple more Stine-O-Ween prompts because it's set at camp and it's got a ghost or a skeleton. So, yeah, I'm excited. Another quick read, probably, and I'm just gonna see how it goes. Okay, you're getting an even later late night update. It is 11 p.m., and I spent the last hour reading The Curse of Camp Cold Lake. I was waiting for my boyfriend to come to bed because usually he comes to bed at like 10:30, so I'm like, oh, I'll just read a little bit and then do the rest tomorrow, I guess. But he's not coming to bed. He's staying up playing Minecraft with his friends. So I'm done with the book. I read the whole thing,
It was good. I didn't really like the beginning, but then like the last maybe quarter, maybe even third of it, I did really like. So I would give this maybe like a 7, maybe a 6 or 7. Definitely better than Curse of the Mummy. I'm now realizing I read 2 books in a row that's Curse of the Blank. Whatever. Yeah, so I'm gonna head to bed, and I guess I'll do another roll in the morning. I really didn't expect to actually read this book tonight, but I'm not mad about it. I will see you guys after a good night's rest.
Hello, friends. As promised, we are here the following morning on the 27th to do our next Spookopoly roll. It's a bit later than I wanted it to be. It's about 9:45. I slept in, and then I zoned out real hard while taking a shower, and time just got away from me. But we're here now, and we've got our dice. We're gonna give them a nice roll. Oh, I think we should count that one even though it fell out. That's 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lands us on Becca Rec, which means I have some videos to watch. Because I don't know what books Becca has recommended. Well, actually, I do. I know she's recommended the Fortuna Sworn series, but I just read the next book, and I'm not quite ready for book 4 yet. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that she's recommended that I would want to read besides that, so I'm going to do some research and get back to you guys. Hello, please ignore the wet hair. Like I said, I showered. I just watched about a dozen of Becca's recommendation videos. I was like skipping through to the actual like recommendations and ignoring all the chatter because I don't have the time for that. But I finally found something to read, and in one of her videos, she recommends Junji Ito books, and I've actually never read any Junji Ito, which is surprising because I love horror stuff and I love manga, but I don't think she recommended this one specifically, but this is the highest rated of the Junji Ito things that I have access to, and that is Shiver, which is one of his short story collections. He has got a bunch, but this is the one that people say is the best, and so that's the one that I'm going to read. So I'm very excited to be reading this. I feel like it's the perfect time for it because Halloween is just right around the corner. It's me. Hi. I'm the problem, it's me. I've changed sweaters since this morning, and I also finished reading Shiver by Junji Ito. It's still the 27th. It's 2:37 p.m. I just keep reading. My lighting is a mess right now. I'm sorry if it keeps getting darker and then lighter anytime I move. Anyway, I don't want to work on my writing right now because the Storyteller's Hearth Weekend Relay starts at 6:30 today, and so I'm waiting until that happens to actually work on my writing. But like, what else am I gonna do with my life? I'm just reading then. So I read the entirety of Shiver. It was really good, very creepy. I love Junji Ito's writing style. Not writing style, art style. That's those are the words that I'm looking for. And the stories are just so creepy. I got a list over on the side so I don't forget what they were. I really liked Used Record was good. It was a little bit meh compared to the rest. Like when I read just that, because it was the first one in the collection, I was like, wow, this is really good. And then I read the other ones and I liked those more. So I see why it's the first one in the collection. Shiver, the one that the whole collection is named after, was not a fan. Very gross, not my style. Fashion Model, I really, really liked. Hanging Blimp, also not my thing. Really creeped me out. Would not read that one again. I did not like it. Marionette Mansion was good, but it wasn't my favorite. Painter was good. It's actually it has to do with Tomie, which is like full-length Junji Ito work, and I haven't read it, but I just know it's one of them, so that's pretty cool. The Long Dream I really, really liked. That was a good one. Honored Ancestors was okay. It was a little bit creepy for me, but I liked it. Greased, did not like. Disgusting. Gross. I'm very uncomfortable reading that. And then there was a like bonus story that was like related to the fashion model one, which I liked, but it was kind of like a snippet more than a full story, so I liked the actual like fashion model story better than the bonus content of it. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. I had a great time. I would love to read more Junji Ito, but I guess we're doing another roll today. Jeez, oh man. I'm just shoving a lot of books in at the end of the month here, I guess. And here we are with our lovely Spookopoly board once more. I've got the dice as always. I'm gonna give it another roll. And my little mushroom fell over. So 6 and 3 is 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've landed on highest rating. This is going to be a little bit of an issue because I don't use Goodreads anymore, and I don't use Storygraph. I don't even know if Storygraph has ratings the way Goodreads does, but I don't know how I'm going to be able to find the highest rating. I mean, I don't have too many books on my physical TBR, so like I could just go and check each of them. We'll see. I might like check a selection of books from my TBR and see what the highest rated is and go with that. I will get back to you. Okay, I'm back and I found my highest rated book. Technically, it's not the highest rated because A, I only checked like 6 or 7 books off of my TBR, and B, there was one that I found that was 0.01 higher on Goodreads. So, House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski had a 4.09, but I'm not ready to read that book right now. So I'm going with this book that had a 4.08 on Goodreads, which is still pretty dang good. That book is Hunted by Darcy Coates. This is going to be my first Darcy Coates book ever, and I've heard that her best books are the like supernatural paranormal ones. Specifically, her haunted house books are so well loved on BookTube and beyond, but I don't have any of those. I thrifted this book along with Dead of Winter. Maybe 3, 4 weeks ago, I went to the thrift store with my friend to find some stuff. That's actually where I bought this sweater too. We both were just looking for a couple miscellaneous items, and of course, I walked away with 6 books that day, 2 of which were Darcy Coates. And so I'm actually saving Dead of Winter for the winter time, and it's not quite there yet. It's actually 80 degrees outside right now, but it's cold in my apartment, which is why I'm wearing a turtleneck. That doesn't have anything to do with any of this. So I'll be reading Darcy Coates. She's chunky. 450 pages, just about, I think. Yeah. So, it's gonna take me a minute to get through, but I am thinking that I will alternate between writing and reading this weekend because I don't have a ton of writing to actually get done during the writing event that's happening. So I have like a couple of things to like wrap up. So when I complete one, I'll then spend some time reading and then move on to my other writing stuff and then spend some time reading, you know? So that is the plan. I really like this cover a lot. I'll be reading Hunted by Darcy Coates for the highest rated prompt. Good morning, friends. It is 9:20 a.m. on the 30th, and I'm very tired, but I'm here to tell you that I have finished Hunted by Darcy Coates. I actually kinda sorta read this in one day. So I did technically read the first 2 chapters, which is like 15 pages, on Saturday night, and then yesterday I read the entire rest of it, and this thing is 450 pages long. So I basically read the whole thing yesterday. I got all of my writing for the day done very early on. Like, I think I finished by like 1 p.m. And so I just spent the rest of the day reading, and it was a good time. It was thoroughly scary at times, which is what you want in a horror thriller. I'm not sure how I feel about the ending, because it's one of those mystery type plots where you don't know if the thing that's happening is supernatural or not. And I personally would have wanted it to go the other way on that, like, whether or not it's supernatural than the way it actually did. But I mean, it was a satisfying enough ending, I guess. It just isn't what I would have wanted, and it didn't really live up to the whole rest of the book that I was absolutely loving. So I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. So it's not perfect, but it is still really dang good, and I definitely want to read more Darcy Coates. So thank you, Jess, for talking so much about Darcy Coates that it made me pick up her books at a thrift store. But yeah, I finished that, which means I guess we're gonna do another roll. I didn't expect to do any more. I figured this would take me till the end of the month, but we still have the rest of today and all of tomorrow in October, so why not do another Spookopoly roll? Let's get that going. And here we have our board with the little mushroom on highest rated where we left off. I don't know what I'm hoping we get, but let's just see. Let's just, ooh, I accidentally punched my desk. Let's just roll our dice. And we got a double 1, which means I have to pick 2 books. So, and I have to pick 2 low rated books. Okay, well, actually, I think this might work out because I have a lot of Dover thrift editions, which are just these old, I think from the 80s editions of classics, and I feel like classics tend to have low ratings, so I might just pick a couple of those, and they would be quick reads to get done through the next 2 days that I have. So let me go look at my shelf and pull some things. So I had 6 different Dover thrift editions on my TBR shelf, so I just put those 6 into Goodreads and found the 2 lowest ones, and you might think this is cheating, but I really don't think any of the other books that I have would have lower ratings than these. So the second lowest that I have is Anna Christie by Eugene O'Neill, which is this beautiful purple and teal color, and I don't know anything about this. I've never read the back of it or anything. Unabridged, in case you were wondering. But I just bought it because it's a Dover thrift edition and I collect those. The lowest rated was Everyman and Other Miracle and Morality Plays, which I've actually, this is also unabridged, I've actually read a couple of these, not from this edition, but when I was in college in different literature classes. So this one talks about how like drama and stage productions kind of disappeared during the Dark Ages and then re-emerged spontaneously in the liturgy and life of the medieval church. And so it's got a bunch of plays like Everyman and The Second Shepherd's Play, which I know I've read, and then I haven't actually read the other 2, so I've read one of the 4 plays in here. And then this, I think, is just a regular. Nope, this is also a play. Cool, so I've got technically 5 plays to read because this is 4 in 1. I'm gonna see if I can find YouTube videos of like productions of these just to watch as I read along because that's how I like to read my plays. That's what I do whenever I pick up a Shakespeare. But yeah, overall, not what I was going for, but I'm not upset about it. I guess these are gonna be my last 2 reads of the month because I don't think I'm gonna do both of them today. But even if I do, I'll just call it there and not do any more rolls. But I think the next time that I see you will most likely be to finish out this vlog. I don't see myself having to update you on the stories of these very often. Okay, I'm back. It is 5:45 p.m., it's still the 30th, and I finished the plays that I was supposed to read. I managed to find YouTube productions of these plays, except for one of the ones in here, but that's fine, I just read it by itself. And like, they're not that good. I feel like I would have enjoyed doing like a literary discussion type of thing with these plays. Like if I was back in college taking my literary courses, that would have been fun. But as it stands, they're just whatever. These are basically all about teaching people to have morals and believe in God. And then this one is about a girl or like young woman who finds her dad who wasn't there when she was growing up, and he's a ship captain, and she falls in love with one of the people on the ship, and then they find out that she used to be a prostitute, and they're like, oh my god, you're a terrible person for being a prostitute. And she's like, I only did it because I was sexually assaulted and lost everything in life at one point, so I needed like the money or whatever, but I'll give it up if I can marry you. And he's like, okay, cool, we can get married. And then the dad apologizes for not being in her life, and she's like, it's okay, I understand. And I'm like, sure, okay. And like, I get that it comes from a different time, but like, it's just whatever. So I think I'm gonna call it there for this vlog, even though I do have one more day left in the month. I'm fine with not reading tomorrow. I think I could take a little bit of a break. And how many rolls did I do? My roll, I don't have my thing open, but like I rolled less than the number of books I read because I got doubles like 3 times maybe. And then there was also the one time where I said no to a prompt and had to pick 2 for the next one because of that. So I think I read like 12 or 13 books, but I only did like 8 or 9 rolls. But you know what? That's fine. I've had a good time. I've read some really good stuff this month, and I am happy to leave it here. So that is the end of this vlog, and if you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.